Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Flight Podcast. My name is Jacob Shanker.
And I'm Andrew Thomas.
Shut up and sit down.
Very recently, a lot of news has come out around the Houston Rockets, and the NBA world is going pretty crazy with all the drama that's going on around them. So, for this episode, we're just going to dive into everything that's been going on with the Rockets. Starting with some sad news Russell Westbrook requesting a trade.
I know you're not happy with this. Your
I
boy.
mean, I'm not happy, but I'm also not terribly upset.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, right? If people don't know, Andrew is the biggest Russell Westbrook fan there is out there. He was a Thunder fan, then he was a Rockets fan, and now
I'll
where
be
do
a
you
Nets fan when he retires, though.
Nets fan?
You can count on that.
Where do you want to see him go?
Where do I want to see him go? I want to see him go to the Clippers. I think that it wouldn't be the best fit, but at the same time, he possibly could still be a good floor general. But with Kawhi there, Kawhi would be hard. It he probably wouldn't be that happy there, but he'd be winning. So
Yeah.
and he'd obviously have a much better chance. And Russell, like whether we like it or not, Russell Westbrook is probably one of the most hated players in the NBA right now. He
Probably.
had he had people are hating on him for dropping 30 against the Lakers when we need to understand the fact that LeBron went off on them. Oh, they're so bad. They only won one game. But also he also came back from an injury and he was recovering from COVID. And he did that to come back and do his job, to go back to work.
Yeah.
So
I think the problem with what he was with being on the Rockets, I mean, now at this point, James, what from all the sources and everything we're hearing that James Harden and Russell Westbrook hate each other,
no,
right?
they
I mean, I don't know if I want to,
that's kind of fake.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm hearing things are not well between them, what it should be between teammates. And I feel like it's because of a mixture of things. I feel like it's because of coaching, right? Mike D'Antoni did terrible with the small ball. It failed miserably, and it just didn't work. And that's not a system that Russell Westbrook can run with. Just going playing off ball. I mean, I think what he was looking more to do is to be given the chance to use the ball more and utilize it more than he should have. And James Harden is known for getting a lot of the possessions from his teammates, right? So now with Chris Paul's obviously not going to be a huge scorer. He's just going to try and make the right plays. He's a great playmaker.
He's
Russ
probably
is a
one of the
good
best
play.
playmakers in the
Yeah,
NBA.
Russ is a good playmaker as well, but he tries to be more of the top guy,
Yep.
right? That's why it
Well, that's
worked.
because he's been that top guy since KD left, also.
Yeah,
So he had to he sacrificed it with Paul George, but he needed to learn how to sacrifice it with Paul George. I don't think he was, or with James Harden. I don't think he was really willing.
I mean, I think with Paul George, which I was going to get to, he like he sort of got into that more. It was better. The relationship between them was better than what it was with James Harden
Yep.
because Paul George was actually giving the ball. Paul George and Russ were getting the ball almost equal amounts in the possessions. So it worked well for both of them, but obviously they just weren't able to execute it in the playoffs and finish strong. But in terms of where I want to see him, I mean, right now, what they're saying is one of three things: either the Clippers, which you said, the Knicks, or the Thunder return. Which
I don't know
so
about a Thunder return. It's possible.
here's okay. If you want him to win, if you want him to get a chip, the Clippers.
Yep.
I mean, that's the only way. I mean, out of those teams, that's the only way. The Knicks are obviously not going to make it. We know about Mr. Bum Dolan. And the Thunder, I don't know what they're doing, but they're just crazy because they gave up everything when that's literally this is probably the best year I think they've had in a while. Right? They actually did well in the playoffs. They just didn't have enough in the end,
Hmm.
right?
Okay. Best year
So,
was 2016.
yeah. But I mean, this is for Russell Westbrook, he has a couple options, but for the Rockets, they're very limited on what they can get. Because I mean, also they have to put into the fact that Russ has a top five as one of the biggest contracts in the league.
Yep, 40 million.
It's a lot of money.
So there's a lot of money for 32.
So yeah, so I mean, Russ to the Clippers. I mean, how do you think that's going to work out between Kawhi and Russ? And what do you think? Do you think that they would probably have to give up Paul George, right?
Yeah, they did. They had to. Yeah, they gave up Paul George. Well, as we know, pandemic P.
Oh my God.
Um, he was terrible in the playoffs. That 3 game stretch, I think he had less than like, was it less than 10 points or was it
Oh
less
yeah.
than 15?
First round, he was
Terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, and let's be honest here, Russell Westbrook did so much better than him. In my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, when he played against the Lakers, it was good.
Let's think about it this way: who was getting guarded by Paul George? Who was getting guarded by Russell Westbrook? No, who was guarding Russell Westbrook? LeBron
Yeah,
James.
LeBron.
LeBron James is a
That's true. As we saw multiple times throughout that series of just the blocks that he
yeah.
had on him
He had like three. He averaged
and
three
the
blocks.
dunks. Yep.
Look, Russell Westbrook would have had a much better game if LeBron didn't. If LeBron wasn't there, I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's LeBron.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Russ and Kawhi, I feel like it'll work well because with James Harden, he's just more, give me the ball. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to get as many points as I can.
Look at what
That's,
happened with KD and Russ. Finals, conference finals, and we can say that they had their beef or they wanted to be the top dogs, but they were deadly. They were ridiculous.
oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
And
If they
obviously,
stayed together, who knows how good they would have been.
yeah, I think they would have gotten 2 championships after. I think they
I
would have
think
won.
maybe one.
Yeah, I think they would have won 2017
They
probably.
would have won probably 12. Well, with the
2017.
numbers LeBron was putting up, I don't know.
That's right. But well, think about it this way: if they make the finals,
Mhm.
because
Hold on. Let's say, yeah. I mean, it's a whole different thing, right? Because if they make the finals and let's say the Cavs win, Kyrie most likely doesn't leave the Celtics. He probably stays with the Cavs,
yeah,
right?
well,
Which
yeah, well, also, but that's the thing. Like we can say, like Curry is Russ's weakness, but if Curry's not there, Kyrie's gonna have a tough time because Kyrie can't guard Russ, and LeBron is gonna be on KD, and we know how good KD is on LeBron. KD's always been good on LeBron.
LeBron's been going on KD as well.
Well, yeah, but also so they equal out, but Russ is better than Kyrie, and their third best
But I
players.
mean, who
Serge
who?
Ibaka didn't leave. They
I mean,
traded
I
away
guess.
Serge Ibaka actually,
Yeah, yeah.
so they probably wouldn't have traded him if
I mean, this is
or
a
or even if that they get Victor Oladipo probably, and he's good
well, they
at that
keep him,
time
I guess.
still.
Yeah, and Sabonis.
Yeah, Sabonis, Mr. Sabonis.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be
He would have
all-star
been.
level like he is today.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Russell Westbrook effect. How
Yeah.
good they do when they leave, besides obviously Mr. Paul George.
Yeah. I mean, that's how people players do when others leave. Like for example, take Christian Wood. Before this year, probably most people didn't know him, but if you've been following the NBA, you know how good he's been. And
Good.
probably the big factor because of that is because Andre Drummond getting traded and leaving.
Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, that's what's going to happen. But with the back to the Russ situation, I mean, Clippers is a very big chance at where he's probably going to go since the Clippers are looking to rebuild. And the one
The
thing
Clippers
that
also, yeah, they want him too.
yeah, they want him. I mean, they'll probably, I think they should also, like, they'll probably have to give up Patrick Beverly,
Probably because
right?
yeah,
Because I think
Beverly
they'll
got to
need to
Russ.
get, yeah, I think they'll need to give up more than just Paul George because Paul George has fallen off
Yeah,
like
I think Paul George
terribly.
and Patrick because Russ he had a really good season too. Also with
Yeah.
James Harden, he averaged 27, 8, and 7,
Yeah, that's great for him.
and All NBA second team or I can't remember. He was good
Yeah.
though.
He
Um,
was good though. We got to give my man's props.
yeah,
But I mean, besides this being one of the reasons that's led to the downfall is the Russ and James Harden thing not working out. But as we were mentioning, Mike D'Antoni's
small loss.
catastrophe
The experiment did not work.
Why don't give me your thoughts about that whole thing?
Well, I think it tricked us because the wins that they got in the regular season didn't really work in the playoffs. Their offense was extremely efficient. They had a great offense, but they had problems on defense. And Robert Covington was like James Harden obviously stepped up his defense. He was great in
Mhm,
the playoffs for defense.
mhm.
Rocco, he's always been good on defense. He played great on defense. Um, that's basically it for defense. Russ is a good defender, but
I mean, that's pretty much the biggest thing was even though they were able to do better than expected, it was defense and rebounding. They just didn't have
yeah,
enough,
the
right?
NBA's defense is getting just awful. The rebounding is definitely their biggest problem, though, without a doubt.
I mean, like, look at I mean, I think the one thing that they should not have done is given away Clint Capella.
No, they shouldn't have.
He's a great player.
Yep,
He'll do
they
great for
should
the
have at least
Hawks.
tried to get a stretch big or something like that.
So, they should have just kept him. What was wrong with Clint Capella? Nothing. They were just trying to do this really weird offense that somehow Mike D'Antoni thought would work.
Anchored their
Well,
defense. D'Antoni ruined their season.
D'Antoni did. He's definitely the number one reason. I mean, he
D'Antoni's a good coach. He's smart, but that's not.
mhm,
You can't trade away Clint Capella. He's your center. He's your anchor on defense.
which they didn't have a starting center. They had PJ Tucker. They
PJ,
had
actually, PJ Tucker's also a good defender, but
he's good, but I mean, he's like what,
he's
six
six foot
nine?
five.
He's six. How tall?
6'5".
He's 6'5"?
Yeah,
No.
he's 6'5".
That. Oh my
Rocco's 6'7"
god.
or 6'8" though.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's 6'5" though.
That is.
Short,
I thought he was
short.
taller. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. I mean, that just shows why would you want to do that? Like he's good for to have your power forward or small forward, but definitely not to have at center. So Mike D'Antoni is just. I think he is gonna ruin.
Yep. Joel Embiid is the perfect. Like if Joel Embiid was on the Rockets, that's the perfect for small ball.
Yeah. I mean,
Shoot, he can do. Joel Embiid can do everything. Jokic can
I,
also do everything, but
yeah.
Joel Embiid would fit better on the Rockets.
I mean, that's another possibility because I know the Rockets were thinking about trying to get Joel Embiid. Do you think that the
Or they were trying to
76ers?
get Draymond Green too. Draymond Green,
Yeah.
if he wasn't so bad, like he's ridiculously overrated, but
Yeah.
he's not bad. Well, he's not terrible.
I
He's
sort
kind of bad, but he's not terrible.
if I hear again that he's the best defender in the 2010s decade, I'm gonna lose it. Because if you don't think it's Kawhi Leonard, then something is severely wrong.
Yep, there's yeah. But yeah. But yeah, with the coaching, they just like Steven Silas, I don't really know that much about him. The
We'll
Mavericks,
see. We'll see how it's gonna go. But I think what will probably he'll run with is a more balanced system, which is really what they needed. Just a balanced all around. Because that's something that can help with them win, right?
yeah, that would yeah, they need to figure it out. But let's head on to the Rocket supporting cast not being happy with their role.
Mm.
And I'm gonna start off with a banger. Daniel House needs to just shut up. Daniel House is so freaking bad. I just don't understand why he's getting mad. Now that I'm hearing that fact that he verbally abused James Harden and Russell Westbrook because he got mad at them because he's so good or because he's just, oh my goodness, he's just, oh my goodness.
He's the best player of all time. Screw LeBron, screw MJ. It's
Screw
Daniel.
Andre Roberson, screw everybody.
I mean, we know why that we're not going to say obviously, but we know why he got kicked out of the bubble and why he didn't play. If you don't know,
Yep,
you
you're
can
an
look
idiot. He's an idiot.
you can look that up for yourself. But yeah, Andrew's right. He's an idiot, and he cannot talk
He's an
about.
idiot. Don't
He
listen
could
to him.
not talk about like he was saying, "Oh, I'm not getting a big enough role." What role were you expecting?
You
Russell
should be
Westbrook's
expecting.
better.
You were literally a starter.
Yeah, Russ was better. James Harden was better. Robert Covington was better. Eric Gordon
Wait,
was better.
everyone
Austin
in the
Rivers
starting
was
lineup
better.
was better.
PJ Tucker was better. If he's the seventh man and he expects to do more than being a starter, something is
He's getting a
completely.
ton of minutes. He's getting 20 plus minutes.
He's getting cocky. his ego
He's terrible.
is skyrocketing, and this is not okay. And this is something that the Rockets are going to need to look into if this is how he's going to continue to be. But I mean, there's a couple other players that are better than Daniel House that are all still complaining about everything. Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, they've been saying how they're not happy with how the Rockets have been dealing with and utilizing them as a player. So I will agree. I feel like they should have utilized Eric Gordon and Austin Rivers more. I feel like
Yeah.
they're
Austin
definitely
Rivers,
good to have off the
you know
bench.
what? Even Austin Rivers is better than Daniel House,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's what I was saying.
Austin Rivers is well, yeah, I heard you say it, but it's just like I was like, maybe. But then I realized he's better. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's a good defender too. Daniel
Yeah.
House is a terrible defender, and Eric Gordon, terrible defender, but he's
But
very good on offense.
he's a great
A
six
little
man.
freaky though, I will say,
He's a little bit injury prone, but I mean,
and inconsistent.
yeah, but he's still great to have off the bench, and when he's healthy, he can get you buckets, which is all you really need.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if this is how for Daniel House, what I think, if this is how he's gonna be, trade him, let him go, do whatever.
Yes,
Austin Rivers and
perfect
Eric
on your
Gordon,
team.
try to keep as much as you can and utilize them more to what they want, because you want to keep them happy.
Yep.
But they don't request a trade.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Jesus. But let's go on to a man that I mean, do we want to say that he successfully helped the Rockets? Daryl Morey, the now he's not the GM anymore, but what he used to be.
You go first on this one. I really need to think about this because I'm really not sure.
So we have to think about it in there's different ways. He brought in great players, James Harden, Chris Paul, Russ, some other great players that they had. I mean, like Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella, a bunch of other role players that were great. The problem was they were not able to be successful in the playoffs any year. They never made it to the finals. They made it to the Western Conference Finals once. So successful, yes and no. Yes, because he was able to bring in these great players, but no, because they weren't able to accomplish the big goal.
Execute.
They weren't able to execute it well. And I feel like he could have focused more on trying to put Mike D'Antoni in his place. Right? Saying and not trading away Clint Capella, getting in more big man and just more strength and more rebounding skills, just people that could actually help their team with on the defensive and rebounding, and because they're one of the worst defensive teams. Well, they were in the regular season. They were one of the worst defensive teams, and it was obvious. So Daryl Morey, and now that he's gone, we'll see what's going to happen with them. But it's successful?
Kind
Sort of. That's my final statement.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they could have done better with what they had. I think that when he traded for James Harden, that was obviously a W. That's one of the worst trades ever for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh yeah,
terrible. But
they snatched it.
I hate to snatch him, but yeah, Daryl Morey I think he did a good job for what he could have done.
For what he could have done, yeah, because when it all came down to it, it was really Mike D'Antoni's fault and the players in the end.
Yeah, I agree. Although,
I mean,
when
overall,
you have James Harden as your best player, you need to accomplish more.
Yeah,
James Harden is this year was definitely James Harden's best year in the playoffs too. He was really good.
Yeah, I mean, but when they had like twice one of the best duos in the league, a top 3 duo at certain times, when they had Chris Paul and James Harden, Russ and James Harden. So like something had to happen, but it just never happened. But overall,
James Harden would most likely be a champion if Chris Paul didn't get injured. It's really upsetting to know that.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, I mean, what we've been hearing is that he may not want to go to the Lakers because he doesn't want to ring chase. He might go to the Suns.
James Harden?
No, Chris Paul.
Oh.
Which?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, if he was on the Lakers,
he wouldn't be able to get a ring in Phoenix, I don't think, but he'd be able to.
I mean, obviously he would be in LA, but he'd be a third option.
Yeah.
right? Even though he's
Yeah.
great, he'd be a third option, which I don't think he would want.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think he wants that.
He's a first option type player, but I mean, if he would go to the Suns, he'd probably be first option.
Yeah, definitely. He'd also be the floor general.
Yeah, I mean, this offseason, even though like the free agency, the players weren't as good as last year, there's so much drama, so many things that are so many rumors that are just going around. Like it's actually really exciting to see where everyone's going to end up towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
absolutely insane.
So, question: what do you think the Rockets need?
I mean, it's a bit more obvious. Big men. That's
Oh, what-
literally it. Just players, just centers, just good centers. They could maybe pick up Andre Drummond in free agency since he's going to be there. Montrezl Harrell will be there. They could try and trade to get just any center or
I'm
Rudy
thinking about
Gobert.
this trade.
Yeah.
They give up Russell Westbrook.
Hmm.
They get Paul George back, and
Hmm.
then they get Patrick Beverly. That equals out for both teams, I think.
Hmm.
And then if they need a big man, they probably would want to go with Ivica Zubac.
Mm.
And then they can probably give up Danwell House and possibly another player if they want to get rid of Danwell House. But I think
I
that,
think they should give up PJ
in fact, I
Tucker.
think that if they gave up Rocco, they could probably get another player.
I don't think they should give up Rocco.
No, I don't think they should, but I think that if the Clippers should pursue Rocco because he's a great fit for them. He'd probably be their power forward.
I
Because
mean, if they were
Rocco
to get Russ and Rocco, it would probably be,
a
um,
steal for them.
it'd probably be Russ. mm, would it be Landry Shamet or Lou Williams? I mean, probably Landry Shamet because Lou Williams doesn't like to
Yeah,
start. And
yeah,
then Kawhi, yeah, Rocco, then center if they can get Montrezl Harrell back. Because if
yeah.
they're going to give up Ivica Zubac. But yeah, the biggest thing they need is just better defenders and rebounders, as we were talking about before, because that's been a main issue for them. Because obviously they're top three. They were arguably the best offensive team in the league last year.
Yeah, yeah. That's what
So
they were.
yeah. But the last and final thing, which looking at how they are now, every year for the past couple of years, we've always been saying that, oh, the Rockets are a top five team to make it to the championship. Do you think they're still at that level, or do you even think that they have a chance now that teams like the Heat, the Bucks, even the
If
Celtics?
James Harden is your best player, there's always a slight chance of having a championship win.
I
James
guess.
Harden is that type of player. Their odds for a championship very low, especially with the fact that the Splash Brothers are coming back.
Oh yeah.
LeBron and AD are good. Kawhi, Luka's getting better every year. Luka Doncic is going to win a championship in the next 10 years. I think he
Win a
probably
couple championships.
at least two, at least.
I
When
think
LeBron retires, I think he'll comfortably be better than Giannis a little bit.
yes. Yes, absolutely.
For the fact that he's
They'll
such
be
a
a
good
great
defensive
duo.
player.
Him and Porzingis will be great
Yeah.
if they can
Hopefully
stay together.
Porzingis
Yeah.
hopefully Porzingis can recover from his knee injury still.
Yeah.
He's
The
very
Maver-
injury prone.
yeah, the Mavericks and the Europeans.
Mavericks and their
Just love
European.
their Europeans.
Yep.
I mean, but yeah, with the Rockets, I mean, you're right. And this may be a hot take, but honestly, if let's say James Harden and Russ either like don't go to a team like the Clippers or the Lakers or any like actual championship contending team, I don't think they're gonna ever get a chip. I don't think they have enough to make it in the playoffs. They're getting older. Russ is getting much older now.
Russ is 32. Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna start digressing. Which so will KD, so will Steph, so will a lot of players, so will LeBron. Right? It's gonna be the end of an era and the start of a new era.
Steph and KD probably less than LeBron and Russ because Russ relies more on his athleticism.
Yes.
LeBron is still always going to be LeBron, but KD
LeBron's
and
also
Steph
older.
they will never lose their shot. Curry's going to be
Well, yeah, no.
40 years old and the best shooter of all time still, so I'm not worried
He's
about
no
I'm not
matter
worried
what.
about Curry.
Yeah, he's always going to be the best shooter of all time.
And even so, and also on the topic of KD very quickly, even if KD is back to 80% of what he was, I still think that he'll probably be the best. You guys know, I still think that KD's the best player in the world. I think he's absolutely ridiculous. I think there's nobody that can stop him. Kawhi can't stop him, and Kawhi's the best defender in the league. I think he's ridiculous. And I think that if even 80% of KD comes back, there's still championship contenders. There's still possible
Well,
favorites.
yeah, the Nets are no matter what definitely championship
Yeah.
contenders. There's a lot of teams right now that are championship contenders. The Lakers, the Clippers, you can even say the Nuggets at this point.
That's a good game.
The Bucks, the Heat, the Nets, the Celtics. That's like 7 teams I just listed off that could easily at this point win the chip next year. I mean, or even just make it to the finals. But no, KD is not better at this point. Because yeah, obviously nobody can stop him, but nobody can stop LeBron either. LeBron is an all
LeBron
around.
can be stopped by Kawhi Leonard. You've seen it.
Kawhi couldn't stop Jamal Murray and Jokic. How do you expect him to stop LeBron?
That team was built to beat the Lakers. That team was not built to beat the Nuggets.
They couldn't beat the Nuggets. If the Lakers beat everybody.
Jacob, I want to let you know that LeBron James' numbers plummet when he goes up against Kawhi Leonard. Did you know that he shot 34% in the 2014 finals? Oh, let me remind you that in their recent matchup in the bubble, LeBron went 6 for 19.
And who won that game?
Yeah, he was shooting less than 30% until the fourth quarter.
Won that game. And who made the last shot?
Guess what?
On the Lakers.
Lakers did not deserve to win that game.
Why?
And LeBron definitely didn't deserve. LeBron was terrible.
Okay, Mr. LeBron hater.
All right. All right.
I mean, but also like if the Clippers are supposed to be the best team and they're supposed to beat the Lakers, but they can't beat the Nuggets.
That team was built to beat the Lakers.
They were, but they couldn't beat any other team. So
whatever.
That's all for today, everyone.
Feel free to comment down below what your thoughts have been on the Rockets drama and the Russell Westbrook trade request.
Tune in to the next episode on Monday. See you guys next time.
Peace.